What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at it again with another video. So we gotta talk about what happened for this year's Survivor Series. This was a great show. It started off pretty slow in the beginning, but it definitely picked up with the later matches, and it ended off fantastically. We're gonna talk about everything that went down in this show. And I was able to take a little bit of notes from stuff that was going on, and we appreciate everyone that was a part of the streams on Twitch and on YouTube. It's always a good time to do some live stream reactions with the squad. So let's get right into Survivor Series and go through the list on what happened, how things played out. So we're going to start with the Women's War Games match. That was the very first match of the show. And Bayley started it off for Team Rhea, and Nia Jax started it off for Team Liv. In this, I'm going to be honest with you. This match as a whole wasn't really that good. There was a lot of sloppiness. There was a lot of stuff that just didn't make sense that was happening in the ring. Hell, the crowd was kind of quiet for a lot of this match until like maybe the last 10 or 15 minutes of the match. It was definitely sloppy. Bayley was getting packed up by Nia early on the match. Tiffany was trying to get into the match right after, but Candice LeRae stopped her. Obviously, Candice LeRae is trying to butter up to Nia Jax, and Tiffany obviously is not liking that. The chair shots that Nia delivered to Naomi when she got involved in the match were horrendously looking. She barely put any force behind them. Like, a lot of the chair shots that they were throwing in this match just didn't look good. There was several botches. Io, when she got called, when it was time for her to get into the match, she decided to get a specially spray painted trash can that was matching her outfit, climb the cage, and decided to get into the match. Liv ended up getting into the match. She was the last one. Obviously, Rhea got in and was waiting for Liv. Liv was the last one. Liv got into the match. She first looked scared. I like how she was selling that she was scared. Left, came back with a bat of sorts and walked to the ring with a bat and started beating everybody up with the baseball bat. At one point, the rest of the Rhea team was taking a big ass nap. The rest of the Rhea team was taking a big ass nap, and Rhea was getting held by everyone and beat up with the bat by Liv Morgan. It was a cool spot, I'm sure, for everyone that was there in attendance, because a lot of people were, oohing and ahhing and getting excited for it. That was Tiffany and Io both go to the top of the War Games sail, and they both jump off. Io jumps off with the trash can on her head, and Tiffany jumps off on the other side. And at one point, Tiffany pulls out a trash can, and there's the Money in the Bank briefcase in the trash can, and Liv and Nia are both knocked out. It looks like she's about to cash in. She doesn't know who she's going to cash in on. It looked like she was about to cash in on Liv, but at this point, Raquel sees it, like, what's going on, and that's when Io comes in with a fire extinguisher and starts spraying everybber with the fire extinguisher, so they stop the cash in. Towards the end of the match, Raquel ends up getting handcuffed because Liv brought in some handcuffs. She was trying to use it on Rhea. She didn't get a chance. Raquel ends up getting hit, like the handcuffs get put on her. Once they put the handcuffs on her, she's kind of incapacitated for the most part. She can't really help out. And there's a table set in the corner, and Liv and Rhea are fighting at the top, on the top rope, and ultimately Rhea ends up picking up Liv, hitting her with the riptide from the top rope through the table, and pinned her for the 1-2-3 victory, as Raquel Rodriguez could do nothing but watch as her friend got destroyed. Now, I was very surprised because I did think the heels was going to win here, maybe with some type of shenanigans of the person who attacked Jade would be revealed, but they weren't revealed tonight, so we don't know yet. But it's very interesting to see that both world champions essentially lost on their respective team. They lost, and Liv got pinned. It wasn't nobody else. Liv got pinned. So obviously they're going to set up another match for Liv and Rhea Ripley. I don't know if Liv does even retain there. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But I was very surprised by that. Like I said, it picked up towards the last 10 to 15 minutes because the beginning of that match was very sloppy. It wasn't good. It just wasn't. Like, the crowd was kind of dead. Once Rhea got into the mix and then everybody started hitting their finishers on each other and special moves, and it started to pick up the pace, it was quite enjoyable. So last 15 minutes of this match is really where you want to watch it. Everything else prior to is kind of not memorable. But overall, very surprised how this played out. And we're going to see how things go forward when it comes into relation of Liv and Rhea Ripley, because obviously their story is not done. Next, LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And this match had a slow start. There was really no build to this match. They literally built this match off of Shinsuke coming back and attacking LA Knight, then Shinsuke doing it again, and then Shinsuke spitting out the black mist on LA Knight. That's how we got this match. No build to the feud at all. So I'm in my head thinking, well, obviously they're going to have LA retain, and maybe at some point they'll give Shinsuke another match and he'll probably win then. But no, that was not the case tonight. Match had a very slow start. Crowd was kind of not into it. Looked like Shinsuke had pretty much the control of the match for the most part. LA Knight had a few offensive moments, but it was really Shinsuke. But the turning point is obviously the steel platform that holds both rings together. You know, they're on one side of the ring, and then there's another side. Shinsuke ends up hitting LA Knight's head, like kind of like a neck breaker, but on the back. The back of his head hit the steel grate. Then, as LA Knight is getting into the ring, stumbling into the ring, that's when Shinsuke ends up hitting the Kinshasa and at the back of the head and got the win for the 1-2-3 pin. I mean, it makes sense if you hit the back of your head onto the steel grate, then get hit in the back of the head with someone's finishing move, you should be incapacitated, and he was. And Shinsuke ended up becoming your new United States champion. I know some people are actually excited about that, and I'm not saying that it's not a bad idea. I definitely want to see Shinsuke get some love. It's just the timing of it. There really was no build. The fans weren't really invested in this match. It was kind of like it happened, and then that was it. So for me, this was probably one of the low points of the show, like, in my opinion, because I wasn't really as invested in this match from the jump. Match was, it was just kind of meh. And then the finish happened, and now we got a new champion. Probably the best thing about this is Shinsuke being the new champion. We'll see if he'll hold it for a while. I don't know, but it was kind of an abrupt way to end LA Knight's United States title reign. So we'll see what goes from there. But overall, didn't really too much care for this match. The ending was probably the most shocking thing. Next, Braun versus Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser for the Intercontinental Championship match. This was really good. We needed this change of pace, and this match brought it, bro. This was so damn good. They put on a fantastic match. These guys had high octane, high speed, crash out season written all over it. It was a fast pace from start to finish. This was so good. Y'all know Braun Breaker loves to hit the ring apron to the announcer desk spot. He did that on both Sheamus and Ludwig. Ludwig ended up picking up Sheamus. Shillelagh started beating the hell out of him. And at one point, this was a really close near fall pinning situation. It looked like Sheamus was about to get the win. It looked like he was about to get the win off of Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker ends up running headfirst into the steel chair that was placed on the opposite turnbuckle. Sheamus ends up hitting the bro kick. It looks like it's over. We got the 1, the 2, and Ludwig pulls the ref from the 3. It was almost done. Sheamus almost became he almost won his very first Intercontinental Championship title. Crowd was really behind Sheamus. They wanted Sheamus to win. You can tell he was the crowd favorite, and this was so fantastic. So good. At one point, Ludwig, towards the end of the match, gets hit with a brutal spear, folded this man in half, incapacitated him, and then Braun ends up hitting Sheamus with his own spear for the 1-2-3 victory, and he retained as I expected. This was good. This was truly fantastic to see. The Intercontinental Championship being put in a good, prominent position. All three of these guys killed it out there. And honestly, I really want to see where they take this. I mean, you can run it back with these guys, a combination of them, either Ludwig or Sheamus. This was definitely great, and I would like to see more from them. So we'll see how that plays out going forward. But the right person won in Braun retaining. And this, at this point of the show, this was the best match. But I knew things were going to get better because we got Gunther versus Damien Priest. This match was really good. The storytelling in this was fantastic. The idea that Gunther doesn't have the same aura as he used to. Gunther's not as confident as he used to after he lost to Cody Rhodes. And Damien Priest has been a step ahead of him in the mental warfare. You never really see him struggle. And I love that the commentators mention that. Like, Gunther is not the same. He doesn't feel the same. Other people on the roster are not afraid of him as much anymore because of his loss to Cody. So, at the beginning, Priest was getting the best of Gunther. He was dodging the chops from Gunther. He was, out wrestling him, and Gunther would have to roll out the ring and take a breather, take a break. You don't really see that too much from Gunther. And Damien was just in his head. He was smiling the entire time because he knew, I got him. Like, I'm good. But then at one point in the match, Damien Priest hits a shoulder tackle on Gunther, and he starts to sell his shoulder. And Gunther sees it because at one point the ref is checking on him, trying to make sure he's good. And Damien's like, I'm good. He starts to hone in on it. And then you start to see a little bit of Gunther's confidence come back. He starts honing in on the fact that Damien Priest, he's hurt. Let me attack that. And that was the story of the match. How can Damien Priest be able to withstand this onslaught? And he's going to have a tough time doing his finishing move, the razor edge, all that. It's going to be tough for him because his shoulder is a part of a lot of his offense. So Gunther starts working on that through the entire match. Even when Damien Priest is looking like he's trying to set something up, he can't because of his shoulder. It was giving him issues. One point in the match, Gunther and Damien Priest is at the top rope. It looks like Damien Priest is about to hit him with a South of Heaven from the top rope of some sort. But he ends up pushing Gunther off the top rope, and then Damien ends up falling. So the ref comes to check on him, and Damien's like, I think it may be out. He's talking about his shoulder or whatever. Then as the ref goes check on Gunther, all of a sudden you see Finn Balor hating ass climb the steel steps and hit the coup de grace onto Damien Priest on the outside. Damien Priest is incapacitated because of that. Gunther sees this, and Finn Balor is just happy that what he did, and Gunther ends up running at Finn Balor and giving him a big boot to the face. Like, he obviously did not want anyone to interfere because it's going to add, once again, another asterisk to why Gunther won. It wasn't because Gunther beat Damien fair and square. It's because somebody else assisted. But ultimately, Gunther was going to take advantage. He got him back into the ring, hit the power bomb. Then he started hitting elbows to the neck. And then he started to choke out. Damien Priest. Damien Priest passes out. And that's how Gunther ends up retaining. And that's it. So obviously with the assist from Finn Balor, but that's pretty much how it ended. And you can see Gunther, looking at Finn Balor. He's not really pleased, but he's happy he still retained. But ultimately, this Finn Balor and Damien Priest story is not done. I do expect that Damien Priest is going to be like, you know what? I got to finish this. And the only way you can really finish that, Damien Priest at some point is going to cost the Judgment Day their tag titles. That's the best way to get revenge, because Finn Balor has cost him the world championship twice. He's already cost him the title twice, so he needs to get his revenge. Cost him the world tag team titles. We'll see that hopefully sometime soon. But obviously, they're going to continue the feud between Finn Balor and Damien Priest going forward. And next, obviously, what y'all here to talk for me to talk about, the main event, the men's War Games match. This 5-on-5 match with these guys, this was a classic. This was so good. Such a good match. I know I was one of the people that was initially thinking this only needs to be a 4v4, but obviously that's not a War Games typical match. You know, I just felt like the story was fine with just the OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline, but I'm not going to lie to you. The addition of Bronson Reed and the addition of CM Punk, chef's kiss, was fantastic. This 5v5 situation was great. They killed it. This is why this was the main event. All stars in that ring, and they showed out, bro. Tama Tonga was the one to start off the match. You know, he's an interesting character. He's over there, climbing the cage and like acting like a damn spider in the cage. It was pretty crazy. Then you start to see everybody else on the babyface side of things, on the OG Bloodline side of things, they got their own entrance because everybody came out essentially to Solo's entrance theme music. Everybody got their own entrance. When CM Punk came out there and he's walking past both cages, he starts to antagonize the heels in the other cage. It's fantastic. CM Punk don't give a damn. And everyone, you know, with their own respective interests come out there, crowd giving them great energy. And Jay ends up being the one to start for the OG Bloodline. And this was really good. The way they started off, fast pace. It was a back and forth between Jay Uso and Tama Tonga. Great back and forth. Tama Tonga would get some good offense in, but Jay would be able to counter it. It was really good until things started to get really bad for the OG Bloodline. Next came in Bronson Reed, and you just knew. Bronson Reed and fucking Tama Tonga, both in the ring at the same time against a Jay Uso that's already been fighting. You know no good was about to come out of that. Bronson Reed came out there and started decimating Jay Uso along with Tama Tonga. Then Jimmy comes to help his brother. That was a nice moment of them fighting back. And you heard the Uso chants, and this is Usi. It was so cool to see them fighting side by side to stop these monsters. But then this is where things turned for the worse for the OG Bloodline. And I said this at the end of the stream. Jacob Fatu was the MVP, in my opinion, for this match because the guy just kept coming back. He couldn't be stopped. As soon as Jacob Fatu came into the match, I just knew it was over for the Usos. They were waiting for him at the door. He came in there and he packed them up with ease, bro. Packed them up with ease. I'm talking about, I believe it was Jay that hit him with a Samoan drop and he got right back up. I was like, oh yeah. They are booking this guy to be a monster. And they did it again tonight. This was great showing from Jacob Fatu. Like, even when he came out, the people got excited because they knew Jacob was going to show out, and this was great. So after that, CM Punk looked like he was going to enter next, but Roman stopped him and told Sammy to go in. So obviously there was issues. They still don't trust each other. They still don't like each other. There was issues, and you can see there was going to be some problems when they got into this match because he didn't let CM Punk go in. So at this point in the match, Sammy started to even up things. He started to help out and, be assistants. He got a great reception too. The crowd was loving Sammy, all the offensive moves. He was able to hit Tamaloa. I believe that's Tongaloa. My bad. I said Tamaloa. Tongaloa ends up coming into the match afterwards. And he, once again, being able to be the equalizer in the numbers game. And Bloodline's starting to get cooked. The OG Bloodline, you just start seeing bodies everywhere. It was just chaos, bodies everywhere. And it's really just coming down to whenever Roman's able to get into the match. So after that, Roman looked like he was about to walk out the cage, but CM Punk shoves him. CM Punk shoves him first, and then goes to the ring. Now, all the OG Bloodline, they've been dispatched. They're laying on the ground. Everyone that's in the ring is waiting for him at the door. So he's about to get in, but then he stops. He looks back at Roman. Roman's pissed that he shoved him back into the cage. So what did he decide to do? He decides to go into the ring and get a red toolbox. It's just a red toolbox under the ring, and he picks it up, and obviously it shades to what happened at Bad Blood when CM Punk got his hands on a toolbox against Drew McIntyre and busted him wide open. So it seems like CM Punk in these cage type matches, it's best to have a toolbox under there because he's going to be able to get the job done and incapacitate you. And that's what he did. He didn't even use the tools in the box. He just started beating up everyone with the red toolbox. I love this part of the match. It was hilarious. It was smart. It makes sense. Hey, I'm going to come in there with a weapon and take everybody else out. But ultimately, even then, the numbers game was still too much for him. As everyone else was trying to recover, and they started to take down CM Punk as well. Last person to come out was Solo. Solo was the last person to come out. He told Roman this is how a real tribal chief gets it done, essentially mocking Roman, gets to the ring, and he has everyone he has his guys bring everyone's head close to the steel door and slams it on them, giving them early cases of CTE because of the steel door hitting their head. That's what he does one by one. He finally gets into the match. It's not looking good for the OG Bloodline. They're outnumbered. They're getting packed up. CM Punk is surrounded at one point, slaps Solo, and they start jumping him. So it was just a mugging at this point. But finally, we're getting closer to Roman coming out. But before Roman gets out there, Solo has a smart idea. He said, you know what? We're not even going to let you in the match, even though he kind of has to get into the match for the match to actually end. But Solo pulls out a steel chain and locks the door so Roman can't get in. Roman finally gets out. He has no way to get in. They're just taunting him. What are you going to do? They're just beating up everybody. And Roman says, well, there's only one way to get into the match, and that's to climb the cage. So Roman decides to climb the cage. He finally gets into the match, and War Games finally begins. Now, I like the story progression in this match as well, because as Roman is helping up the rest of his bloodline, CM Punk is still laying on the ground. He doesn't help CM Punk up. He doesn't help him. Still doesn't trust him. Still doesn't like him. He doesn't help him up at all. So there's more chaos ensues and stuff like that, and it's getting more hectic. I like the fact that Paul Heyman, he comes out there. Paul Heyman runs out there because people are asking, where was Paul Heyman? Paul Heyman comes out there and he tells Roman and he tells CM Punk, look, we need to work together. If we don't, we lose. Because he can see in the back, obviously, Roman not helping CM Punk. He's not trying to be, have him a part of the team. He's not really including him. He needs to for them to work together. The wise man, being the wise man, comes out there and say, nah, you need to do this like this. We need y'all to work together. So finally, they look at each other. They kind of give that mutual nod. And then now everybody's facing everybody else on the other side of the War Games cell, and they start brawling. It's chaos ensues. This was just so much fun, man. I love what they were doing here. At one point in this match, and we got to talk about these crazy spots, because these were the turning point in the match. Roman's been hit with multiple Samoan spikes. I want to say damn near almost 3 at this point in the match. Everyone's getting packed up still. The new bloodline looks pretty formidable, right? So they end up setting up a table, and they end up putting Roman on the table. Now, Bronson Reed's going to the top. It looks like he's going to do his top rope tsunami, but no. Bronson said, nah, I'm trying to end Roman and end this match. So Bronson goes to the very top of the War Games sale. And he decides to jump from there to hit the tsunami. But CM Punk saves Roman Reigns. Well, actually, before I get to that, Roman Reigns ends up accidentally spearing CM Punk. It was an accident, like right before that. So you would think CM Punk is going to turn on Roman and cost him the match. No. In fact, CM Punk becomes a team player, saves Roman Reigns from getting destroyed by that Ultra Tsunami by Bronson Reed. And Bronson Reed's dispatched. Throw up the X for Bronson Reed. He was done. Done for the rest of the match. He fell from the top of the cell all the way through the table, through the mat. Hit nothing. He was dead. So Bronson Reed took himself out. Next, it was taking out Jacob Fatu. Now, Jacob earlier ended up, right before that spot, I believe, he ended up missing like a moonsault and he ended up hurting his leg. So he was selling that. And once again, this is how they're protecting Jacob. Jacob can't be stopped so far. So how do you stop him? He stops himself. He's done this before where he's crashed and burned essentially in a match and he's taken himself out. So he was injured, but he wasn't at 100%. So the Usos start hitting them with the CTE kicks. They finally end up hitting a nice 1D on Jacob Fatu, which was a nice way to incapacitate him a little bit more to at least slow him down, which was beautiful to see the 1D, being used by the Usos once again. And once again, it's showing the fact that two guys had to do whatever they could after he already got injured himself to take him out. There was another table on the other ring. They set it up. They lay Jacob Fatu on it. Jimmy goes to the top of the sail and hits the Uso splash from the top of the sail onto Jacob Fatu through the table, and he was incapacitated. Jacob Fatu was done. Jacob Fatu was done. It was over. So at that point, everybody is starting to pick up, the other members, like Roman is starting to help up, everybody else, and Jimmy and Jay, they're starting to help each other up. Everybody else from Solo team is down. CM Punk is laying down, and Roman extends his hand to help up CM Punk. So now we got that great moment. Roman finally extended his hand to help out his teammate. So everybody's up now. All of the new Bloodline members are down. It's only Solo. Solo, like, it shouldn't have been like this. And he's surrounded. There's nothing he can do. It's over for him. And Solo, being the defiant individual, he said, "I'm still the tribal chief." That's when he ended up eating some super kicks, and everybody started hitting their finishing move on him. He got hit with multiple super kicks. Then he ended up getting hit with the haluva kick, which I love how Roman was like, "Go ahead, do your thing." Hits him with the haluva kick. Then he ends up getting hit with the GTS from CM Punk. And finally, Roman Reigns hits him with the spear for the 1, the 2, and the 3. Fantastic match. This was a great War Games. I was looking forward to it, and they did their thing with telling this story. They've been building this up for months. This was fun. Fantastic. Everybody's embracing each other in the ring, hugging each other and stuff. It was a good moment. And I mean, even one by one, people started embracing CM Punk one by one from the OG Bloodline. And it came down to Roman and CM Punk. They locked eyes. They stared at each other. Roman extended the handshake, and CM Punk shook his hand while Paul Heyman's in the back outside the cage, happily looking on. And as CM Punk leaves the cage, you can hear the mic saying, "Hey, man." He ends up telling Paul Heyman, "Hey, I'm going to need, when I need the favor, I'm going to come to you and ask." And Paul Heyman said, "That's fine. Whenever you need that favor, I got you." So you hear him on camera saying, "When I need the favor, I'm going to come to you to ask for it." And most likely Paul Heyman will help him with that favor. And that was pretty much it. Everybody stood up at the entrance ramp, putting up the ones, and CM Punk hit the go to sleep. And that was it. That was how the show ended. I know some people were expecting, The Rock to pull up. If he didn't, him not pulling up is fine. It ended off fantastic. He didn't need to be there. I know people wanted him to be there, but he didn't need to. I know they're going to be extending this story past what we're seeing now. The Bloodline story is not done. We got plenty of time, and we're heading into WrestleMania season relatively soon. So I'm sure he will be integrated into the story at some point. But this was great. This was truly fantastic. Loved the way it ended. And the OG Bloodline has won, man. So we're going to see how things play out going into Friday Night SmackDown. And that is Survivor Series, ladies and gentlemen. This was a fun show. Like I said, started off definitely shaky, but it picked up towards the end. The last 3 matches were really great and worth your time watching, man. So comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite match from the show. What was your least favorite match from the show? And what did you guys think of the men's War Games match and the women's War Games match? Did you guys enjoy them? And just give me your opinions just on the show in general, man. But I appreciate all the love and support that shown on the channel. Like I said, rate the show on a scale of 1 to 10, how you felt about it as well. We can all have those discussions down below. But like I said, appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for all the love and support. And yeah, I will see y'all again for Monday Night Raw. I'm looking forward to seeing the fallout from what happened here at Survivor Series. So catch y'all on the next one. Peace.